A new study from researchers at the University of Michigan shows that feeding a robot fabricated or augmented data when no datasets were available increases the ability of that robot's performance by 40%. According to a May 2022 study, data augmentation for manipulation, the success of deep learning depends on the availability of large datasets. Still, in robotic manipulation, there are learning problems with few or no datasets. According to the researchers, collecting the datasets is time-consuming and expensive, so one method to tackle the lack of data is data augmentation, creating additional training examples by modifying existing ones. For example, a robot hooks a rope around an engine block. That's a task that any R. But learning how to manipulate an unfamiliar hose or belt would require huge amounts of data gathered for days or weeks. Getting on-the-job training is acceptable for a human, but for a robot, that can be time-consuming and costly to the manufacturing floor. To become accustomed to a new part or if the robot needs to play with the hose for a while before installing it, that's not optimal for applications in the real world today. In the study, Berenson and fellow researcher Peter Mitrano, a doctoral student in robotics, decided to alter the optimization algorithm to enable a computer to mock. In one example, the robot pushed cylinders on a crowded surface. In some instances, the cylinder didn't hit anything, but in other exercises, the cylinder collided with other cylinders, which then moved in response to that action. Researchers said that if the cylinder didn't bump into anything, that motion could be repeated anywhere on the table where the trajectory doesn't make it crash into other cylinders. So rather than doing a lot of time-consuming experiments, Berenson and Mitrano's program created variations on the result from the first experiment that served the robot in the same way, creating fabricated data. The team focused on three main qualities for their fabricated data: relevance, diversity and validity. For instance, if you're only concerned with the robot moving cylinders on the table, floor data isn't relevant. The flip side is that data must be diverse. If you maximize the diversity of the data, it won't be relevant enough. But if you maximize relevance, it won't have enough diversity. Both are important, said Mitrano.